Hello and welcome to Building the Premier Accounting Firm. This is a podcast dedicated to helping you have and offer quality accounting services to be the premier accounting firm in your area and get paid what you are worth. It's as a podcast that we try to bring on the experts, the individuals that have the experience, the familiarity, the insights as to what we can be doing to work on our business. And today's going to be no different. I'm your host, Roger Knecht, president of Universal Accounting Center. And for more than 20 years, I've been working with accounting professionals to help them start and build successful businesses, training their staff, offering quality services, and most importantly, getting paid what they're worth. Now, with regards to this, today is going to be an excellent episode. We've got someone that I've been looking forward to having on the show for some time now. It's Kristy Honsvick. Kristy has been working with hundreds of entrepreneurs over the last 9+ years. She is basically aware of how overwhelming it can be for us to actually increase our visibility, create content, and show up consistently on social media. So she knows the integral parts of what it is to take those things and have a thriving business. She helps her clients actually create forward-facing branding and multiplying their content in a way that they've already created it, and now they want to make it increasingly visible online. She lives in Salt Lake City with her husband and 3 kiddos. When she's not at home, she's probably in the mountains, which is her happy place, with a true crime novel and some peanut butter M&Ms. So, Kristy, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, obviously, many of the people I work with understand and want to have an online presence, and they struggle with that. So, I'm excited to have you on the show, but I want to start by asking, how did you even get into this space?
So I actually started about 10 years ago as a VA. I was working in the corporate world. I was working like 60 hours a week, was pregnant with my second kiddo, and realized there's no way I can be working this much and have 2 kiddos. So I left and started a VA business, but I very quickly realized that I didn't love being a VA, but I loved the marketing side of things. So I went full force with marketing. I took all the classes I could. I learned all the things. And then here we are, 9 years later.
Yeah, now 10 years ago, just to put this into context, social media definitely wasn't what it is today.
No.
Some of the platforms didn't exist or they weren't as relevant.
Yep.
Which were some of the ones that you started with?
LinkedIn. In fact, I built probably close to 50% of my business on LinkedIn when I first started because I had a 2-year-old and I had a newborn baby. And I couldn't go out and network and meet people, and I couldn't be on the phone all the time. And so LinkedIn, I used LinkedIn primarily.
Perfect. And what has changed since when you started till today? How's LinkedIn, for example, become different?
So LinkedIn has changed a ton. When Microsoft purchased LinkedIn, 5 or 6 years ago, they've completely changed the platform so that it's more user-friendly, it's more fun, it's adds in a little bit of a personal element. Now it's not just straight like business postings. So to me, it's gotten a lot more exciting and a lot more usable. And as they've made changes.
Perfect. And in addition to LinkedIn, what today do you think is also a relevant social media platform? I realize everybody can, based on their industry, find different things like Pinterest, let's say, but really, what's that effective way for you to be marketing in addition to LinkedIn?
So, and really it does depend on who's your ideal client, who's your audience. I personally use Instagram and Facebook. I feel like Facebook gets a bad rap sometimes, but I have gotten significant business from Facebook. Really, the biggest thing is wherever you are, whether it's an email, whether you're focused on SEO with Google, whatever it is, you need to make sure that you're showing up consistently and that you are sharing valuable information. And as long as you're doing those 2 things, I feel like any platform or any medium can work really well.
Beautiful. Now, I think what your expertise in is going to make for a great conversation today, because myself included, we all struggle with, okay, what am I going to post today? There's the frequency issue. How often should we be posting? But even with the frequency issue, it's like the creativity of what should I be posting? So I want to go through these things in kind of a sequence. First of all, let's talk about really how often should I be posting in whichever platform you suggest, Facebook, LinkedIn. What's that frequency that's not overwhelming for me to create and not too overwhelming for my people to see?
Yeah. Once a day. I think once a day is, as far as posting is a sufficient amount, but then you also need to be showing up in stories. If the platform has stories, and you need to be using video in some capacity, whether that's doing short form video like Reels, or whether you're doing longer form videos like LinkedIn Live.
Excellent. And here I am. I'm now hearing you say I've got to do this daily. How do I come up with that content? And that's going to lead us to then repurposing that content. So first of all, how did I come up with the content to begin with?
So we obviously, I'm a content repurposing agency. So everything that we do is content repurposing. It should be your message. It should be things that you are creating, things that you are talking about. It used to be back in the day that you could just share like a fancy quote card from someone, or like an article from Forbes or entrepreneur.com or something relevant like that. But nowadays, that stuff doesn't work so well. Nowadays, it's what's your message? What little micro piece of content can you share that's going to get your audience excited about what you do? The reason we love content repurposing is because you can take even this podcast, for example. If you are doing a 10-minute podcast or video every week, you can create at least 15 pieces of content from that one video or podcast. You can create social media posts from it. You can create newsletters. You can create shorter videos. You can also create blog posts from it. So that's what we do for our clients. But as far as how does that relate to posting? So within that 10-minute video, we will take it and have at least 3 posts for social media be directly from that video. Now, by that, I mean like pulling out a catchy phrase or a catchy piece of content and sharing that, and then asking someone's opinion. So by following that video that you're already posting and using that, it kind of gives you a theme for the week. You can just follow, okay, what did I talk about in that video, and use that as your content for the week.
So that's how I'm creating the content. And I'm sure you've got some other suggestions on what we can do to create content. But real quickly, I've got it. I've posted it once. Yep. Let's talk about the repurposing. I mean, how soon after I posted it once is it appropriate to use it again? And how can I reuse it again?
So there's a difference between, and this is a common thing that people get confused, but there's a difference between repurposing and reposting.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
Reposting is just you're sharing your blog post on 3 different social media platforms. That's reposting. Repurposing, you actually have to change the medium, or you have to change the audience. So for example, you can take your blog post and turn it into a video. You could take a podcast and turn it into a blog post. You're changing the medium. You're changing the type of content that it is. So you have to be changing that medium and repurposing. So we might so if our client is posting a video on, let's say, Monday, we'll use that usually the following week for the content. So the next week, all of their content's going to be related to that video.
So I'm also hearing in here kind of a theme that you post something, you're going to carry that theme for a period of time. Talk about how you're able to identify a theme, what's going to resonate with the audience, what may be engaging or interesting to them, and then repurposing it. How would you actually now, over the course of the week, reuse that idea?
So so there's kind of 2 different questions there. How do we know what to talk about? We monitor your metrics like crazy, and we do a lot of keyword research. So before we tell our clients to create a video about XYZ, we're making sure, okay, is this something that your audience wants to hear about? Are these common questions that people are asking on Google? We're doing all of that research to know what to talk about. Once they've recorded the video, the first thing that we do is turn it into a blog post. And from that blog post, we'll create several social media posts that go around it. We might pull out we might ask a question about the article, like, here's my opinion, what's your opinion? We might share like a catchy phrase as a graphic to share. There's a whole bunch of things that go into it, but the first thing we do is create a blog post.
Perfect. Now, I've kind of already asked this, but I'm going to ask it a little bit differently. we've already established why I would want to repurpose. I mean, part of it's the creative, just it helps me take what I have and reuse that same theme. But why do I need to repurpose what I'm using? And why doesn't my audience get exhausted or tired of the same thing over and over?
So there's a couple of different reasons that you should be repurposing. The first is it makes it really easy to outsource your content. I hear from a lot of business owners, I don't have time. I don't have time to post on social media. I don't have time to write a blog post. But if you have committed to a repurposing strategy, it makes it really easy to outsource to a team and have someone else do it for you. Because then all your focus is on creating like a 10-minute video every week, which most business owners can do that. They can take 10 minutes to record something. So it's going to save you a ton of time because often you can outsource it. It's going to create diversity with your content. Now, what I mean by that is people consume content in a lot of different ways. I actually don't watch a whole lot of video. I prefer to read because I can read really fast. But my husband prefers to watch video. He hates reading. So if we were both your target audience and you're only recording video, you are missing out on the whole slew of people that prefer to read, and vice versa. So by creating that diversity with your content, you're actually going to reach a lot more people because you're conveying your message in different mediums. And then one of the biggest reasons I think is that it reinforces your message. When I go to Instagram and I see someone talking about a particular subject, and then I go to their website and I read a blog post about that subject, it's reinforcing what I learned on the social media platform to then see it on your website. I get really excited to learn from them because instead of just seeing one post about a topic, I am also I'm learning about them. I can watch the video and see how excited they are about the topic that they're talking about. I can read about it. It reinforces your message across all the platforms. No matter where someone sees you, they know that you're an expert in your particular niche.
All right. So this is going to bring me to another thing that comes up in a lot of the conversations I have. When a business, an individual chooses to outsource the content creation and management, one of the things that we struggle with is, should the business owner, let's say, create the content and the outsourced person now as the social media person just manage its disbursement and kind of the strategy behind it? Or is it possible to really outsource the creative part of it as well?
Yeah, absolutely. We actually, when people are outsourcing to our team, we do the creative aspect as well. So when we work with a client, there's two things that we require from them. One, that they are recording new content every week, whether that's a video or a podcast. And then we are creating all the different assets from it to be posted on social media. The other thing that we require of them is that they are committed to engaging with their audience, because you can post all the content you want on social media, but if you are not taking the time to respond to your people, to show up on the platform and send messages to people, or even just reply to messages, your content is going to be a lot slower to build an audience with that. So when we take on clients, we are creating blog posts for them. We're creating graphics. We're creating newsletters for them, all the social media posts. So we are doing all of the creative piece as well.
Okay, so you've touched on something that I wanted to bring up next. Anyone and everyone that's involved in social media always has this longing for engagement. How do I connect with people so that they're not just scrolling past whatever content I've posted, but they're actually engaging? And it could be, the liking or whatever, but it's also commenting. How do we take it to that next level?
Well, this is a really simple answer, but you have to ask. I mean, if you are just sharing something on social media that's a statement, people are more likely to read the statement and just scroll past. If you're saying a statement and then asking a question, they're more likely to respond to that question. So you really have to guide people what you want them to do. That's why so often you see people in their videos say like and subscribe, or, they give some sort of call to action, because if you don't tell people that that's what you're looking for, they won't do it. The other piece of that is to make sure that you're monitoring your metrics. And because any social media or any Google Analytics is going to tell you what people are scrolling past, what they're actually looking at and engaging. With social media, if they look at it for more than 3 seconds, that counts as engagement. So it's tracking all of that. Did someone stop to read your graphic? They're engaging with it. And if they did that, then we know, okay, they really liked this content. We need to create more of it. People really respond when we share branded graphics. Let's do more of those. Or people really like when I share pictures of my dog. Like, let's share a few more pictures of your dog. So it's monitoring those metrics and what are people responding to, then you know what to create more of.
The thing I like about this is the fact that it's not just this random, let's just shoot anything, try anything and hope. I mean, there's a little bit of a science to it now. So that's really
Definitely.
good. So you've used the word a few times, strategy. Just give us an example of what is a strategy and then an example of how it was implemented and what came of it, kind of a thing. So first of all, what do you mean when you say strategy, and then an example of it?
Sure. So strategy, if you don't have a strategy, like you said, it's like throwing spaghetti at a wall. It's you don't know what's working. In our industry, I call it posting and praying. You're posting something and you're praying that it gets engagement. And that's only going to sustain you for so long. When you have a strategy, you're looking at your numbers, you're seeing, okay, what works, what doesn't, what is my audience like? How often should I be posting? Because sometimes you can post more and people like it. Sometimes you can post less and people like it. But it's knowing all of those numbers so that you are not wasting your valuable time and your money on creating graphics and posting. You're going to grow a lot faster because you know what works. Also, that goes into a strategy is setting a goal. So we sit down with our clients every quarter and we say, okay, what are your goals with your social media and your content this month or this quarter? Do you want to grow your following? Are you trying to drive people to your website? Are you trying to get more email subscribers? And then we build the strategy around that because those all require something different. If you're trying to grow your email list, we need to make sure that we're asking people to subscribe to your email list. We may create a new opt-in for you so that people are excited and want to get added to your list. But that's something that we do every single quarter with our clients is identify what their goals are and what they want, and then building the strategy around that.
So I'm glad you brought up campaigns, and I still want an example, but the question I have about campaigns is, for a long time, it used to be get followers somehow to whatever the platform, get someone for whatever the term is for that platform, follow you. And the presumption was, say, for example, in Facebook, once they followed you, the thought is they're going to see anything and everything you post because they're following you. Same within LinkedIn. If I'm now connected with these people, I'm theoretically posting and they're all going to see it. We understand that's no longer the case. How do you address that? I mean, is the objective really to get followers anymore?
I don't feel like it is. We don't focus on followers at all. I mean, that's one of the ways we manage expectations with our clients is we say, we are not growing your following. We are focused on getting you email subscribers and getting you more engagement, because you really want people to see your posts and then engage with it. We want them to follow you on multiple platforms. When your followers are only seeing about, and this is very generous, but about 2 to 5% of your followers are actually seeing your content. So that's why it's so important that people are following you on multiple channels, that they're subscribing to your email, because your email, your open rates in your email are a whole lot higher than your social media channels. That's why it's so important to be blogging and driving people to your website, because you want them to see you in those multiple places. And as far as an example, so we had a client actually just recently, so we met with her last quarter. Her goal was to grow her Facebook group. So all of our energy, all of the content that we were creating went into growing her Facebook group. And what I mean by that is the call to action on it might be, make sure you're joining my group. We would do posts about, here's what you'll learn in the group. Here's why you should join it. And everything focused on growing the group. And because that's what we were focused on, because that's what we were asking people to do, her group grew significantly in the quarter. That was our focus.
That's perfect. I think that is, very deliberate. You've got a goal, you're working towards it, and you're able to watch it as a metric. So you commented on something that I'm a huge proponent of that I want to just draw attention to. And it was this idea of capturing emails. One of the things that I really am a proponent of is as great of a platform each of these different systems are, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever. Having them follow you on those platforms is one thing. It's another to, through some way or another, get their email, and now you have direct contact to these
For
people.
sure.
No longer are you dependent on or reliant upon the algorithms of this platform to deliver the content in front of the people. You have
Yes.
their email. And once you have their email, you're able to email them as you choose and obviously contact them. And even
Yes.
more effective than that is text. If you're able to get their phone number to text them, even the
Yes.
texting is more effective still. So what I really want to emphasize here is if you have a campaign where with a loss leader, you're able to offer something in exchange for their email or their phone number for texting purposes, that is a game changer only because of the fact that you're no longer dependent upon that platform to deliver your content. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Uh, Absolutely. I don't know if you remember, but last fall, Facebook and Instagram went down, and it was down for like, I don't know, it was like 7 hours or something. It was, a good portion of the day, and people were freaking out. And we had clients calling us saying it's down. What are we going to do? What's your strategy? How are we going to overcome this? And we were able to confidently say to all of our clients, it's okay. It's going to come back up. But guess what? You have emails going out today, and you own your email list where you don't own your follower list on social media. You're okay. We were able to kind of diffuse all of their concerns about that because they're growing their email list. Now, that doesn't happen very often that social media goes down, but it does happen every once in a while. And if you are growing your email list, you don't have anything to freak out about because you are still you still have a way to connect with people.
Exactly. I couldn't emphasize that more than you just did. That is such a good example of that. So the next thing I want to know is this visibility question. For years, I literally mean years, people were saying, okay, from a social media point of view, you got to put yourself out there. You got to be
Yeah.
vulnerable. This is back in the day when everyone was posting pictures of what they're eating and how they were doing their
Yeah.
laundry. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it was basically, this voyeuristic, let people into your lives. And I'm like, I have zero interest in, hey, I'm here and hey, I'm here. That was
Yeah.
just ridiculous to me. So I struggled having being visible, let's say. In addition to that, I remember back then there was this whole conversation about having a personal profile and a professional profile. This is the one that I connect with everyone on. This is one for my friends and family.
Yep.
Right now, I don't have the personal and professional. I have one Facebook account. I have one
Yep.
LinkedIn account. I have one Instagram account. So I'm definitely not doing that dualistic approach. But how do you deal with a client that's saying, I'm reluctant to become visible? What are you asking them to do? What does that mean today?
Sure. So, thankfully, long gone are the days that you have to have both kind of profiles. It really just kind of all meshes together. In fact, on Facebook, you can now have a professional account. You can turn your personal page into a professional account, so that it functions more like a business page and a personal page together. So thankfully, long gone are those days. When we say visibility, we are really talking about increasing your reach and your impressions. So the number of people that are seeing your content, and the number of people that are responding to it. That's what you really want to focus on. There is some element of visibility that you do have to get personal with people. Now, does that mean you have to always show pictures of your kids or where you're going on vacation or whatever? No, it doesn't. It can be simply showing a picture of yourself, and what you're doing that day, and then the caption relates to business in some way. We have plenty of clients that don't want to show their families on social media. Totally fine. You don't have to. You don't have to step outside of your comfort zone in that way that you feel like you're putting your family or your personal life um, in jeopardy or out in the open.
Well,
That's
it's just
fine.
trying
But
to keep some privacy. It's just trying to
yeah,
maintain. I mean, anybody and everybody would like to stay somewhat anonymous.
yes, for sure. I think the biggest thing with visibility, though, is you have to be okay with showing your face. You have to be okay with posting pictures of yourself, because that's how people are going to connect with you. Even if it's a picture of yourself and then the caption is related to your business, that's great. That's fine. That's not letting people into your world and showing them what you're doing, or who your family is, but that is being willing to show your face. And really, you have to be willing to do that these days.
That is such a fascinating point. I'm going to share with you something here that I'm sure the listeners will appreciate and you might find interesting. This is going back nearly 15, if not 20 years ago. As a company, we had decided rather than having a face for the business, we were really going to start with the branding of the business as an entity so that it was autonomous from any specific person. And for years, we ran that way. We just didn't lead with a personal face, right?
Yeah.
Well, more and more, it just became apparent, especially as social media became more and more prevalent. You just can't have a faceless presence. It's got to have a persona. And so for years, I was struggling with, as a company, we had decided we're not going to have like this poster child or this ambassador necessarily. And that just wasn't working for us. Obviously, nobody wants to click on a picture of a faceless image. And so if you look at our business profile, I have become that poster child and my face is everywhere. And fortunately, I get a lot of people that compliment and comment on it in a favorable way. So that's nice. I'm obviously doing a podcast, so I have a voice for radio, but I can also say that I've got a face for TV. So I'm happy. And the thing that's beautiful about it is my face is out there everywhere. And from the marketing point of view, it's just one of those things that gets leveraged again and again.
Sure.
And I become definitely associated with Universal Accounting. And that took some time. Am I really wanting to personally be the face of the company? And it wasn't easy. It was with some kicking and prodding that happened. And today I'm very comfortable with it. It's fine. I finally have embraced that, and I'm good in my own skin. But it was a decision that other people had advised, and I was reluctant to choose. And once I decided, I have to just end on this, I went all in. It was an all-in thing. Done. I'm going in. Get the photographers. We're going to do this. Bring them in. Do the awkward photo shoots. It was just basically, okay, I'm doing it. And, it's more than just a headshot, right? It's how can I get this photo shoot to bring out some persona? And honestly, it's, I like one photographer over another photographer for what they were able to capture in this still frame image. I mean, it's just crazy how that all goes. So how do you deal with somebody that's like, I just don't want my picture out there?
Yeah. So I have a couple clients that are like that. And one of them, we just have told her, you have to do it. She's a solopreneur. And so we've been working with her over the last couple of months, and she's finally getting comfortable with it. I do feel like that's just one of those things that you just have to start. You just have to start doing it. There's no easing into it. You just need to start and trust that you'll be comfortable with it in a few months. The other thing is we have another client that she doesn't want to be the face of her company. She has a fairly large company. So what we do with hers is we use pictures of people from her team. So when I was talking about sharing, weekly content, she has assigned her staff a week of the month that they're responsible for. So when we're posting videos for them, every week it's someone different from her team. But that way people are getting the perspective of her team, and not just her. So that actually works really well for her because she has a larger company.
I love that. That is an excellent piece of advice, because if you feel you're either too shy, not photogenic, whatever, you've got a team of people that you can leverage, and nothing's wrong with celebrating online all those individuals, whether individually or collectively as group pictures. Let's leverage these. And actually, I'm trying to remember, there is a company, I can't remember if it's like JCPenney or I don't know who it is, but if I remember right, they use for their catalog. That's not the word I want, but it's their ads. They would use employees for them to actually take pictures and wear the wardrobes and show the toys and whatever. I'm trying to remember what the company was, but instead of hiring models, what they hired were employees to take all the pictures for the ads that they were doing. So it'll
very
come
cool.
to me.
The other thing, taking pictures, it doesn't always have to be professional pictures. It can be, you can take selfies. I kind of, on Sundays when I'm all dressed up because I went to church that day, I usually come home and take a few pictures of myself because I know that I got ready that day and I'm in some nice clothes. So that's kind of my routine. As I go to church, I come home, take a few selfies so that I have pictures of myself for the week. It doesn't
That's
always
excellent. I
have to
love that.
be professional pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. It doesn't have to be, okay, there's an additional cost and expense I'm going to have to incur in order to go into this venture. So
Yeah.
I like that. That's excellent. And over time, you're going to end up with a pretty large library of photos that you
Right.
can repurpose and use, which is kind of what we're talking about.
And, Canva, most business owners subscribe to Canva, but they have an option that you can remove the background of your photo. So it doesn't even need to be like a really fancy background, because you can remove that and use it for graphics. There's a million ways you can do it without incurring the extra expense and doing it in an environment that's comfortable to you.
Perfect. Now, you've already brought up software. I did want to ask, so what software choices should someone consider? Canva, you just mentioned. One of the things that was always a question is there's a lot of work going and posting on Facebook, and then going and posting on LinkedIn, and then going and posting on Instagram. I mean, it's just, there's time logging in, posting it, especially when it's the same thing. Is there a way to accelerate or simplify that process?
Yes. So using a social media scheduler. Now, there are a million out there. There's Hootsuite we use is called Loomly. You can use Facebook Creator Studio. There's a ton of them. And they all kind of work the same. But the way we do it and the way we teach our clients is that once a month, we're brainstorming all of the content. What are your video topics? Writing an outline for them. Just kind of building the strategy for the month. Every week is when we're scheduling the content. So we're actually creating the graphics and then going in to schedule things to post for the next week. And then every day we just have to focus on engaging. The reason we do it that way is because when we sit down to schedule social media posts, you can be more effective doing one task in an hour than you can be trying to do 15 minutes every day. So, that's how we recommend doing it, is scheduling your posts by the week so that something's going out every day, but then during the actual day, you just have to focus on connecting with people, connecting with your audience.
Well, I like that because it's very intentional and deliberate. I mean, you're sitting down with a very purposeful meeting. What are we going to do as the theme for the month? I mean, it's no different than any other company where you're talking about advertising campaigns, promotions and sales. You're looking at the holidays, the seasonal type thing. So you're able to be more intentional about what you're posting. And then the beauty of it is I agree with you. You can be much quicker and effective sitting down and in Canva creating 5 or 6 posts than doing one and then tomorrow doing another. I mean, the amount of time is much more efficient. But the last part of it is I don't mind sitting down and scheduling, okay, this goes out on Monday, this goes out on Tuesday, this goes out on Wednesday. And you just get them all in there. And at the end of the day, you've got the entire month taken care of. And I think that's a very effective use of time. And I've been doing that for a long time. And I think it's helpful. It's useful.
Yeah, definitely a better use of your time than trying to do little pieces every day.
Okay, so here's the next question. How does a company know that it's time to actually outsource this? Obviously, throughout this conversation, it's very clear this is what you do for a living. This is what you do. Yeah. It's kind of a two-edged question. One is, what's your ideal client? Because they're ready and they're understanding the process. But how do I, as a business owner, know that, hey, maybe I'm to that point where I need to take this up a notch. Maybe it's worth getting a professional to do this. Forget what they're going to do. How do I know I'm ready for that, though?
Sure. So there are a couple of things that we look for with clients before we'll take them on as a client. So are they consistently making money? Because you have to have money to pay for it. Do you have a solid offer? Like, do you know what you sell to clients? Are you confident in your service? Are you clear on your messaging? So I can't tell you how many times we have people talk to us and they aren't clear on how they communicate their business. But then the fourth thing is that they know their ideal client. If you don't have those 4 things in place, it makes it really hard to communicate to a contractor who you're trying to reach on social media, what you're selling, what your messaging is. Because if you don't know yourself, then there's no way that a contractor is going to know it for you. So have a solid offer, you're clear on your messaging, and you know your ideal client. If you know those 3 things and you're consistently making money, then I would look at outsourcing.
Perfect. So is there like a threshold regarding like earnings, or I mean, what's that tipping point that says now's the time to outsource? Is it my time? I'm spending a day a month doing this. I'm making so much money. I mean, what are some of the telltale signs that say, you know what, I think it's time to hire somebody to do this?
Yeah. So if you're super overwhelmed with creating content, if you are getting to a point where you're like, I have no idea what to post, I'm spinning my wheels, or I feel like I'm talking about the same thing all the time, you're ready for an extra set of eyes on your content. And if you are, I mean, this really does save you a ton of time. If you think all the time that you spend creating content every week or posting on social media, and to get all of that time back is very invaluable for business owners, especially when you know that not only are you outsourcing it and getting your time back, it's going to be done a whole lot better and a whole lot more strategic than you probably could do it on your own.
I like that. Like that a lot. All right. So here's a question that I don't know how you're going to answer it. Can you give us an example of how you're having a professional? I'm obviously asking you, but I'm trying to say, when a professional gets in and does it, how does it differ from someone that has a day job, runs a business, and they're trying to fit this in? How does it change from what they're squeezing into the workday, work week, work month to I've now got a professional? How does that change?
Yeah. So my team lives and breathes content. This is all we do all day long, and we're really good at it. I think you get what you pay for, just like with any service. So if you are paying a lower price and just somebody that's doing it on the side, they're not as committed to somebody that is doing it full time. This is what I mean. All my training, all my coaching that I personally pay for goes into bettering my position as a content creator. So when you're paying a professional that understands the strategy, we understand how the metrics work, we understand how, the time of day that you post, or how often you post, or how cohesive your content is. When they understand all of that, your social media and your blog posts and your website and all the things that go with it are just going to grow exponentially faster. It also helps to get out of doing it yourself. When you do that, because sometimes I even do this myself. Sometimes I spin my wheels and I think, I already talked about this particular offer a few months ago, and I can't think of how else to talk about it because I'm too close to it. Versus when you're outsourcing to a professional, they're able to say, oh, well, you could talk about this angle, you could do this aspect, you could create a video about this. So you're getting an extra set of eyes on it to help you.
I like that. All right. So next topic. Obviously, the listeners of this are accounting professionals. You're a business owner. What does accounting mean to you? Do you use it in your business? What do you wish your accountants would do for you or help you understand? Here's your chance to tell the accounting profession what they could do to help you as a business owner better.
I wish, and this is probably for lack of, I just haven't taken the time to figure it out, but I wish I knew how to forecast and set goals better financially for my business. Because I'm real good at saying, okay, this is what I want my revenue to be for the month. But it's really just based on what I feel like I can accomplish and what I want to make. It's not strategic in the fact of enough to cover my bills or to forecast or anything like that. So that's really what I would like to know more of.
Perfect. I like that. That's what they need to hear. And as a business owner, your perspective is going to obviously be different than what they may think being an accounting professional. So that's 100%. Helpful. Now, you've been running your business for nearly 10 years. You've got staff. I'm curious, do you work with offshore people?
I currently do not. No.
Okay. So do you have an opinion regarding offshore services and working with them? Sometimes people are, trying to evaluate whether or not that's a worthwhile tool or resource.
Yeah. So I'm not against it. Two of my business besties that I have the best relationship with, they both have offshore people that work for them. I think the thing to know is And we've had clients that have said, I've hired someone offshore and it's just not working. The thing to know is, and make sure that the communication is, if they're going to be posting for you or if they're going to be doing anything client facing, you want to make sure that their English is top notch, because that's usually where I see that people falter, is that you can tell that somebody offshore wrote the message. The people I've seen that are most successful with it are the ones that are doing like administrative tasks, that they have a very specific SOP about how to do things. So one of the reasons I have not ventured into that is because we write content all day. We are doing forward-facing client tasks all day, and I would never want to post something for a client that isn't in alignment with their messaging and their native language. So that's really the only reason I haven't ventured out that way.
Yeah, I think you just nailed it. And it's something that I've had as a conversation so many times. And it's whether or not the individual or individuals will be client facing,
Yeah.
whether or not they're interacting with or going to be, their work's going to be seen directly by.
Yeah.
And so that is something that's regularly been a decision-making process. The other thing is kind of like you said, how well your standard operating procedures are. If you've got very clear steps and processes that someone can do behind the scenes, all the more power.
Yeah.
And that I think is a very good way of kind of delineating the two.
And we have clients that work with people in the Philippines. The way we work with them, though, so I offer done-for-you services where we're actually creating the content and posting for you and monitoring your metrics and the whole 9 yards. We also, people can hire us to repurpose their content. So we're creating graphics, writing the posts, writing the blogs. We're doing all of that, but we're just providing the assets to them in a Google Drive, and then their VA goes and implements it. So all of the posts are written out for them. We're just not doing the posting for them. So that's another way that you could utilize that for to save a little bit of money, is having somebody write the content, create the graphics, so that you know that is good and matches your messaging, and then have them just do the scheduling.
Interesting. Very good. Okay. I like that. All right. So next thing is regarding your being a business owner. I love asking this question. It's how, as a business owner, is your life different today than when you started your business, in your case, 10 years ago, that you are just so pleased and happy with? What's being an entrepreneur accomplished for you?
I have little kids. So it has allowed me to get my kids to school, to do school pickup, to rearrange my schedule so that I can go volunteer in their classroom once a week. All of those things are so incredibly important to me, and owning my own business has allowed me to do that. When I worked in the corporate world, I had to schedule time off to go to the dentist, or had to schedule time off to go see a kid's school program, or whatever the case may be. And I love having the flexibility that I can do whatever I need to do. If I want to take a longer lunch and go on a date with my husband during the day, I don't have to ask anybody to do that. I can just do it. So I feel like it's really improved my relationships with those that are closest to me. And it's just given me the flexibility that I need as a mom with young kids.
I love it. Your children, what do you hope they're learning from you as they see you go out and run your own business?
I hope, well, for my daughter, I hope she's still young to realize this, but I hope one day she can see that women can do anything. I mean, I make as much, if not more, than my husband does. And I think that celebrating women in that role is not often seen in our society, especially in Utah, where we both live. So I want my kids to see that I'm working and that I own my own company, and that is something to be proud of, because it really is.
I love it. That is awesome. How has it been with the support of your husband, your hot husband?
My hot
doing
husband,
this?
that's how I describe him, as my hot hubby. He's amazing. He is my biggest cheerleader. He is the first person to cheer me on as I'm doing things. And I can have conversations with him, and I will say, okay, I'm thinking of doing this new opt-in or offering this new program. What do you think? He is so good to give me his feedback, even though he probably has no idea what I'm talking about. he's the first to say, yep, I think that's awesome, and cheer me on about it. So there's no way I could have made it this far in business without him behind the scenes and, helping support our family.
Excellent. Yeah, I can't say enough for the support that I've seen so many people receive. It's hard. I've seen people struggle when they don't have the support from family and
Yeah.
friends, and then the difference when they have just people that got their back, that are their cheerleaders. There's a difference, and I can't say enough for those supportive people. They really do make this easier.
Yeah.
Going back 10 plus years ago, when you were choosing to go out, start your business, kind of go into this whole new space, what advice would you give your younger self? Has it been worth it? And what would you say that you didn't realize then that you now know?
How important it was to niche down. I feel like in the beginning, I was just so anxious. Like I had to replace my corporate income, which was fairly significant at the time. But my husband was in college still, so he really relied on my income. So I was just taking in anybody that would give me money. But it made for some really hard days of working with people that I didn't like, that I didn't mesh with, that were doing scope creep beyond anything I could ever imagine. But once I got really clear on, I don't do social media, I do content repurposing. Once I've gotten so clear on that, and it's helped me get clear on my ideal client, on my messaging, on all of the marketing that I do. So I wish I would have said no to clients earlier so that I could niche down and just trust the process that people will come when they're ready.
That's beautiful. I love it. I think that's excellent advice for the listeners. This is, I think, true in any profession, especially as we kind of embrace our entrepreneur spirits and try and start, run, and build our businesses. So well said. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go just real quickly into true crime novel. You said you read them. Give me a good one that you like, that you read and you're like, holy cow.
Oh my heck. A specific novel. I don't know if I have a specific novel. I just love anything true crime. There's a series by L.T. Ryan, Lieutenant Ryan, that I really like. It's just a Kindle. It's on their Kindle Unlimited. I can just fly through those. I just read What Happened to the Bennetts. That was actually really good. It was about a family that went into witness protection. So.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So because of this, you have all the ins and outs, the tips and tricks on like how to commit a crime and not get caught, right?
Yeah,
all right.
Absolutely.
Just wanted to check. All right. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wrap this up, and I'm going to come back to you for a closing thought. And in wrapping this up for the listeners, I want to encourage you to go to the episode description. Basically, what's happened is Kristy has been so kind to offer for free 33 ways to repurpose your content, and these are ways you've never ever thought of. And so I'm really encouraging you to go to the episode description and there find this free download that Kristy's made available. At the same time, what I would encourage you to do is also check out the Turnkey Business Plan. It's for accounting professionals. It's on what you need to be doing to build your business. And it's in there that we'll talk about various marketing strategies that you can use to complement what it is we've discussed here today. So go to the episode description, get these free resources and apply them in your business so that you can, in fact, have the premier accounting firm in your area. As a summary of today's discussion, there are a few highlights that really stood out to me. One was the whole idea of strategy, having content that's deliberate and intentional, the idea of meeting once a month to come up with what's the game plan for the month, having a theme for each week, literally coming up with something that we're able to then leverage or repurpose throughout the week and build upon. Thought that was excellent ideas. I like the idea of repurposing in the sense that it's not having to come up with something brand new each and every time. It's taking something and morphing it, adapting it, just basically leveraging it in a new way with a new meme, a new headline, a new video highlight. It's these types of things that allow us to take what we're so good at and repurpose them, as she's already pointed out. The other thing that I really liked is the fact that when it comes to content, there is a system, and it's really important that if we get away from the followers and the likes and really focus on what can we do to offer and get from our the people looking at us their contact information so we can own it and use it as we need to, and not be so dependent upon the platforms as to whether or not the things that we're creating are actually getting seen. That's a huge thing as well. I think that's just so important to understand. And then regarding the whole idea of repurposing, it's a creative process. And if we're at that point where we running the business just don't have that creative space or time, that it's okay to go ahead and outsource it and really find a professional that literally can take what we're doing and make it that much better, more intentional, more deliberate, with maybe some key metrics that we can follow and see whether or not that process is working. So love today's discussion. I know that having a virtual bookkeeping, accounting, tax business is a lot of people's dreams. This is obviously a key component to that space, is getting out there, being vulnerable, using our image and actually leveraging it appropriately. I like the idea of also including our team members. Wonderful insights there. Lots of great little takeaways here. In fact, I've got my own little action items that I'm going to do after this. So this is really good. I've got some ahas from my own work that I do online. So with that being said, Kristy, what's your final thought for everyone?
Just, there is so much more that you can do with your content. We have a rule with all of our clients and with all of my team that you create once and you repurpose at least twice. So what I mean by that is every piece of content that you are creating, you need to repurpose it in at least 2 other places. And if you can kind of get in that mode of create once, repurpose twice, your content's going to go a lot farther than if you're just posting it once and moving on to the next piece. You're going to get burned out real fast if you're doing that. So always find multiple ways that you can use your piece of content, and your marketing is just going to be a lot better and grow a lot faster.
I like it. Simple, concise, and to the point. I like it. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. Everyone, take a moment. If you haven't already subscribed to the podcast, love to have you actually receive the notifications of the releasings of the podcast episodes each and every week, where we have the experts come on and share with us tidbits and tips and tricks on what we can do to, in fact, work on our business and have the premier accounting firm. It's in this that you can also go back and check all of our previous episodes, which I invite you to do, and basically listen to those episodes that apply to your specific situation. The nuggets are out there. Go find them and definitely take advantage of those previous episodes, because there's great content there to be had. In addition to this, I do want to encourage you that if you'd like more information about how you can apply these principles in your business, you can feel free to reach out to us at 801-265-3777, or you can visit us online at universalaccountingschool.com. Definitely check out what it is you can do to work on your business, grow your business, and in fact have the premier accounting firm. That being said, always remember, accounting success is universal. Take care, be safe out there, and have a great day.